Hello guys, and it's finally here, the updated version of my grid, the updated version of my Tell Me When and weak course that I use for all of the healers. In this video and in the description below, you'll notice is a link to the Discord page, to my Discord UI section, and in the UI section you'll see links for Grid2 for every single healer. You'll see links to weak course and Tell Me Whens for every single healer, tailored to their abilities, to their talents, tailored to their debuffs and things like that, for everything. And this video is going to mainly talk about the frequently asked questions, and it'll try to cover the error messages that you might get or things that you might not know how to do with Grid2 and Tell Me When or weak course. Keep in mind that I actually use Tell Me When and weak course at the same time because well, I find it easier to work with Tell Me When, but I really enjoy the fact that weak course is so shareable and so easy to copy and things like that. My Resto Druid and my Resto Shaman are using Tell Me When profiles with a bit of weak course. Those Tell Me Whens have been originally created by me. All the other healers use weak course that somewhat been copied from Wago.io, edited to my liking and things like that. So I appreciate all the hard effort that the original creators did in order to create these awesome weak course. Now, first of all, for the people who do import the Grid2 profiles, there is definitely going to be a couple of questions that you might be asking yourself. So first of all, after you import your Grid2 profile, you should see something like this. You'll see a Grid2 player frames. And the fact is, you probably won't see the exact thing that I'm saying right now because Grid2 doesn't really copy the custom layouts. If you do import, when you do import the profile from advanced, you go to advanced and you import profile, try and click the include custom layouts, and you might copy the fonts and you might copy the frame textures. But if it doesn't, just go to indicators, go to health, go to layouts, and change your frame texture to whatever you want. Frame texture can really alter the Grid2 look and feel. I use Grid2 flat, but I actually tend to choose different ones depending on which class I play. You see the amount of textures that I have way more than you probably have because I use multiple different add-ons that provide different textures. So it really depends how big your list is going to be as well. So just pick whatever you like. For font, you have to go to text down. You'll see the name here, and you go to layouts and you'll see font. I use font called Hodged XCT, which is part of the font, which is part of an add-on, XCT Combat Text. So if you don't have that add-on, you won't have this font. So just pick the font that you really like as well. If you want, you can copy me and get the add-on that I also have. And that's going to set your font and texture for your Grid2, which is really important, and a lot of people complain about when they copy the profile, they don't get this. Now, the second thing that people ask me is, how do I move Grid2? And it's quite easy actually. You just type in /Grid2. I should have mentioned that before. And then you basically go to layouts. Once you go to layouts, if you want to change the way your party or where your party is located, you just click on test. Once you click on test, you can move this. I don't want to move this right now, but you can move this, let's say to the left, right, or whatever. And then you click test again and it'll be there. If you want to do this for the raid, you'll do the same thing here and you can move it anywhere you want. And that's the way that you move Grid2. Now, another really important thing, before you actually downloading Grid2 profile, I really advise people using the Twitch client. Twitch client is really fast and easy to actually enable the alpha version of Grid2. Once you enable alpha version of Grid2, you can go to your Grid2 again, and you can go to statuses and debuffs. Once you go to debuffs, you can go to raid debuffs, and in raid debuffs you'll see Legion. And in Legion, you can notice you'll see on Taurus. And in Taurus, you'll see all of these different debuffs that you can enable, disable. I don't want to see this. I do want to see this maybe. You can enable, disable. And the same thing is going to happen in BfA when BfA, all their bosses come out. I think a week after. It usually takes a week after the bosses or the raid encounter is released for Grid2 to release this kind of debuff list where you can enable and disable this. And it's really handy to use. So if you don't, and it usually is only enabled if you allow Grid2 alpha version to download. And if you don't have this buff, you can generally go to general settings and say enable auto detect. This will especially be good for new encounters where Grid2 might not have specific debuff list and you don't want to enter, the spell IDs for debuffs. And that is really important. Keep that in mind. Now, let's talk about Tell Me Whens. I'm using Tell Me When for my Resto Druid, Tell Me When for my Resto Shaman. And really important for this is for you to install an add-on called Mask. Mask is basically a skinning add-on. It makes the interface looks nicer, believe me. If you're using the default Blizzard skin, there are way better skins out there. If you use Mask, you'll see an option here, and you'll have to go to Tell Me When, and in Tell Me When, make sure you select a skin called ElvUI Nesk. Make sure you select this, and because without this, the buttons will not be properly sized. They kind of will be overlapping and things like that. So with ElvUI texture, it'll make it look way better. So that's really important. You can do the same kind of thing for weak auras. You can change the way weak auras look as well. And there's a lot of different options if you want. You can play around with this and you can make it look even nicer. But for Tell Me When, for Resto Shaman and Resto Druid, please use the ElvUI skin and it'll make it much better. And that is basically it for all the questions right now. I don't think there should be any problems with ElvUI or Grid2 or whatever. You also have to keep in mind that I have 2 profiles for ElvUI. If you want to import the ElvUI profile for the general healers, it's fine. But for Holy Paladin, I use a specific different ElvUI that basically changes the location of my player frame to kind of fit in with the Paladin buffs and blessings and things like that. So that's the only difference. If you want ElvUI for your Holy Paladin, there's a specific section in the Discord UI page that is dedicated for Holy Paladin ElvUI, and everything should work. Thank you guys. Please enjoy the Grid2 and enjoy all the different profiles that I have. If you have any issues, post them on the Discord. Watch this video before posting any questions that I mentioned already. It'll save everyone time. And thank you guys. I hope you enjoy. It took me quite a while to put it all together, and I'll talk to you in my next video.